Hello all, my name is Bethany and I want to present to you the importance of ocean ecological restoration, more specifically discussing the restoration of the Atlantic Ocean. Recently I've been gaining interest in our world's oceans and their ecological characteristics, as well as the various species of fish discovered throughout the world. Therefore, this topic really interested me and has caused me to conduct my own research and present my understanding of what has been done and what is going to be done for ocean rewilding. The Atlantic Ocean is the second largest ocean in the world, covering up to 20% of the Earth's total surface area and approximately 29% of the ocean surface area. Over time, it has geographically formed into an S-shaped basin that extends longitudinally between Eurasia and Africa to the east and the Americas to the west. Of the world's oceans, it is the largest drainage point due to the inward sloping of the continents, receiving water from a great portion of the world's major rivers ranging from the Mississippi all the way to the Amazon. Since the existence of modern humans, the Atlantic Ocean has caused the means for our survival by supporting economies around the world via transatlantic trade routes, transportation, and housing some of the world's highest biodiversity. If you didn't know this already, there have been about 33,000 species of fish identified to date. That's more than mammals, amphibians, reptiles, and birds combined. In fact, continental shelves of the Atlantic host one of the world's richest fishing resources. Off the coast of eastern South America, Brazil is considered a biodiversity hotspot, claiming nearly 20% of the world's biodiversity and supports 6 different and distinct biomes. Human occupancy along the coast of the Atlantic is highly correlated to the exploitation and impoverishment of the ocean. Although Brazil holds some immense biodiversity in its marine species, marine pollution, stemming mostly from rivers near agriculture and livestock, and marine debris, man-made waste, which accumulates heavily on coastlines and beaches, has increased rapidly over the last few years. The same can be seen on the eastern coast of the United States, as well as eastern Argentina with the inclusion of oil pollution and sewage pollution. The Atlantic Ocean of 2017, as we know it, is in a fragile state. The once productive fishery resources, which were supported by biodiverse and expansive habitats such as seagrass, meadows, and kelp forests, but study after study has shown that these habitats have been destroyed and degraded by poor water quality, destructive fishing practices, and increased coastal developments. For example, Atlantic cod used to be so plentiful that fishermen once claimed they could walk across the ocean on the backs of the fish. In 1913, 1.2 tons of fish were being landed in the UK alone. Similarly, 700 meters of European flat oysters were being consumed annually in London. So where can we go from here? What can we do to create a more positive and sustainable influence on the resources and species of our oceans? To answer these questions, I thought that the rewilding of the ocean is one that's relatively new, but can improve and be effective with more research and investment into proper methodology. Ocean rewilding is large-scale restoration of ecosystems where nature can take care of itself by maintaining a balance between people and the rest of nature. Rewilding work emerged in 2014 initially with lab trials and has extended to the sea in an attempt to utilize the opportunities of offshore and coastal renewable energy. For example, tidal lagoons around the world are being proposed as potential options for reliable and predictable power generation, which presents a major opportunity for environmental renewal. A study introduced by Pitcher 2005 investigates the Back to the Future approach, an integrative approach that attempts to restore ocean ecology in terms of improving and benefiting the fishery industry. This plan not only includes new methods for describing past ecosystems, but it also claims to design fisheries that are sustainable in their practices and take into account the costs and benefits of fishing in restored ecosystems. At present, depletion and collapses are even worse than we've initially thought. In the past 200 years, wetland habitats in North America have been drastically altered, which have affected the delicacy of natural salmon populations. Although I agree that the improvement of fisheries is a necessity in order to succeed in a sustainable harvest, I do think more research should be done in order to improve the methodology put into a project like this. Other challenges to this theory include improving methods for quantitatively describing the past, reducing uncertainty in ecosystem simulation techniques, and making policies against climate change. At the end of my research, I concluded that rewilding should be considered just as important as restoration of terrestrial ecosystems, considering its high economic implications and amount of biodiversity seen within fish species alone. I think it is easy to argue that restoration ecology on terrestrial ecosystems has advanced far more than restoration of aquatic biomes. So I'd like to present the possibility of trophic rewilding for the more heavily degraded areas such as the coral reefs. An instance would be the de-extinction unit we had previously discussed involving the repopulation of the woolly mammoth in Siberia's Pleistocene Park. Another possibility could be investing in marine silviculture, more specifically looking at a way to engineer the ecosystem in reef restoration, which has already been proven to be successful. Nursery-born corals were transplanted into a damaged reef located in the Red Sea and were able to easily adapt to the highly degraded conditions. Additionally, they provided new niches for native species, assuming conditions were stable for an extended period of time. Major losses of seagrass and oyster species has spiked an interest in exploring more avenues in underwater restoration. For example, an effort made in Chesapeake Bay, an estuary off the coast of Virginia, has shown that large-scale restoration can be successful. With the use of seed dispersal, researchers were able to restore seagrass meadows important to fishery habitat, which has led Atlantic cod stocks to be utilized at a more sustainable level. Although the movement to sustainable energy seems to be the ultimate result of these restoration acts, I think the stability of marine ecosystems and reintroducing lost biomass should be taken into consideration before proceeding any further into the energy debate. Thank you so much for listening. That's all I have for you today.